killer, right?
39?
Yes.
So we're gonna have to talk about that a little bit.
All right.
Let me see everything.
I really have to look that up.
No, I was just making sure. I forgot like the exact thing about it.
All right. What'd y'all think of this week?
Oh, and you started off last time. Hey, I can't see the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What'd you think?
This week overall, I'd say at the end of last week I was a little nervous that it was gonna stay pretty boring for a while, but it actually made some interesting parts come up. And
I thought chapter 8 was pretty interesting.
Chapter
With
8.
the bat in the town. Is that Dracula or another vampire? Like the one that bit.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Cause isn't Dracula supposed to be on the boat at this point?
Yeah.
Well, no, so the boat's unloaded. They unloaded all their stuff.
So it was already unloaded?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Because they said they went ahead and unloaded it and called the, or not called, but.
Oh, the invoice that they left.
Yeah.
For the money.
Or like they talked to the company that owned the ship, said no, I could just come and take all their stuff.
Mhm.
And then they did have the invoice.
Because they have this like special instructions about unloading.
Well, they just said to leave it right there. Yeah, the page 84.
Yeah. From 83.
Literally was right on it.
I thought, like Owen, I thought it was gonna stay kind of boring, like it was there for a while. Chapters 4, 5, and 6. It kind of picked back up a little bit and fall off again. It's very up and down,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
The whole thing with Lucy kind of sparked my interest again. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it was the
See what
guy
happened.
that, I forgot the name of him, but the one that, like, tried to get flies. Tried to get
Oh, yeah, that was
birds,
just
tried to get
weird.
cats. Renfield.
Yeah, when I mentioned Van Helsing, that kind of sparked my interest because you just know who he is right away. And they put him as a doctor, so it's kind of, well, he is a doctor, but it's like different.
Did y'all, the part where they're talking about delivering stuff on the train, I thought it was funny, but they mentioned again that it still wasn't a clear map. They called it a rough diagram.
What page are you
83. The letter from Samuel F. Billington. And this is also Dracula stuff, right? That they're moving on the train.
You think? We assume.
That's what I thought.
I mean, who ships 50 boxes of dirt?
It's not just any regular dirt.
But I thought it was on purpose that they put rough diagram.
Yeah. Matt, what'd you think about it?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny whenever Lucy's chilling in the bed after a while, and then Arthur pulls up and they talk to Arthur, and he's like, I'll do anything, I'll give every ounce of my blood. And then they're like, yeah, we're gonna need your blood. I thought that was pretty ironic how they did that.
Well, then they got 4 other people, or 3 other people.
Turned her into a vampire at that point.
Was there anything in specific you all want to mention, or you also want to start breaking down the chapters?
Well, I was gonna say the whole Renfield thing. Like I understood it at the beginning when it was saying that he ate and ate, but then like went off of him and came back to him, which confused me a little bit.
Like the part where he's all religious.
Well, then like I think this. I'm pretty sure this is what Renfield said. Like I am here to do your bidding, master. I'm your slave, and you'll reward me.
He's like worshiping.
Yeah, I was like,
and
what happened?
So he was one night there. Whenever he broke out, he looked up and there was a bat. The doctor saw a bat. So I'm pretty sure he's worshiping Dracula.
Oh, whenever he was looking at it, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like,
He's doing Dracula's bidding.
Yeah, it literally says I'm your slave.
You know, when I just mentioned like that it said a rough diagram, the next page it says that Mina has her trip all mapped out. I thought that was kind of ironic that they said that.
Well, that's when she's going to see Jonathan, right?
Yeah, in the area that's not mapped out.
Oh no, they moved him. He was somewhere else, wasn't he? Like, I thought that
He had just moved to a hospital, I think.
They got married
We
in
should
the
talk about
hospital.
that. Yeah, how do you feel about them getting married? I found it kind of
Actually,
interesting.
no, this was before. This was before the hospital.
Literally, they see each other, and she's like, "Yeah, we're getting married."
Yeah.
While you're laying in a bed.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what is happening.
The very next section is them explaining he's at the hospital. So Alright, do y'all wanna
Let's just start on page whatever 78,
77.
77.
and go through all the
Whatever
write-ups?
sticky notes you got, just start talking.
Alright.
Right.
So my first sticky note was page 79 on the top. And I first saw the two little, I guess what we've come
The
to
bite
conclude
marks.
is bite marks.
Mm-hmm.
But what else would it be? Because it's
But
definitely not the
It's
pen.
not the pin.
The pen would only
Yeah,
make
that's
one
what I'm
mark.
saying. He thought it was the pen, but that's kind of dumb.
When she was sleepwalking, she ran to a church, right?
Yeah.
What,
The
She
same
ran to
way.
a ruined church.
what do you guys what was the point of that? Like, why run
It's
to
the
a
same.
church?
Renfield's going to a church every
No,
time he
that's a
breaks
different-
up.
No,
It's a
Renfield
different
went to- I
church,
thought
but he's
Renfield
still
went to
going
that
to a
church.
church. I think it's supposed to.
Represent something.
And both times they've seen the bat outside the church up in the
And
sky.
then it's with the moonlight.
And
then
the
Well,
it's
used
moonlight.
to, churches had graveyards like in the middle.
In the
So he might not be there for the church, he might be there for the graveyard.
Why would they be there for? What does a
the
vampire?
spirits or
Oh,
they just-
whatever.
Ship 50 graves.
Well, then they're dirt.
My first
They're
write
just
up
dirt.
was on 77. The new woman in quotations, that definitely is like our word for feminism now, right? Some of the new woman writers will someday start an idea that men and women should be allowed to see each other asleep before proposing or accepting. I just
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Like,
That's crazy.
Well,
how
women
much-
are getting
Advanced
more
in future
rights.
to accept.
Yeah.
She would be
That's crazy how much
supposed-
times have changed
It
since
is
the writing of
weird.
this book
Yeah.
and now.
You
the,
couldn't
the
see
whole
100
word for it,
years.
isn't it?
Yeah.
you couldn't see your significant other sleeping, and now they're
We got people like-
going around.
On 81, that's when Lucy started to get better after she got bit. But
So
didn't
whenever
she get worse right after?
she gets, so I think it's, I don't know, like
Because she's getting fed on, right?
Yeah.
Every night.
Like whenever blood comes out, she feels better the next day, and then I guess her body progressively gets weaker to the
Mhm.
point where she can't function again, and so it's like it creates a dependence on the vampire.
Getting her blood
yeah,
sucked.
until she doesn't have any blood anymore.
Oh,
she
you think
dies.
that's what it is? It's creating like a
That's what I
reliance on the.
that's what I always thought because when it said like she's sleepwalking and she goes to the window and she's acting impatient, like she's acting like a fiend for
She's
Dracula.
ready, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember writing this, but I asked if she was under some kind of spell.
Maybe that.
And then
Kinda
later,
what it
on that
is.
same page, I said she's definitely under a spell. Let me see if I can figure out what I was talking about.
Well, because they were. What page are you on?
Oh, that's when she was
Isn't she
sleepwalking,
scared, though, at the
and
same
she
time?
she had an intent, but she's unconscious.
Yeah, like she knew what she was doing, but she was asleep.
Yeah.
Because like she gets impatient.
She was under the control.
Yeah.
My next write up is on page 85. I
I'm
said
going on
the.
82.
Which
And I was
82?
just wondering if the bat is actually a vampire.
It's definitely.
Yeah.
Is it Dracula or
Is
is it different?
I don't know.
Dracula is the question.
Hey, what were yours on 85?
I thought that the dogs howling symbolized sexual desire.
Which one?
Especially because Lucy had said it. Me and Luke were talking about this in class.
Dogs howling. Okay, let me go back and reread that. Where is the dogs even howling at?
It's at the very top.
Okay. Hold on, let's see.
And then she
Fish release.
gets all. She's trying to show us something.
I don't know. The dogs may have something to do. Cause I was reading in chapter 13 last night. And it was talking. There was a. Let me find it. Sorry, this is probably missing. On page 151, there's a newspaper article. I don't know if you remember this. It's talking about all these kids getting kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
It's on. What's the word for it? A bloofer lady. But they think they have the bite marks. I mentioned that they thought it was dogs, but there's always wolves howling when these kids get snatched. And
Well, I bet
on
you the
page
wolves-
85, I asked how did the wolves get there from Romania. So Dracula might have like shipped the wolves in
In the coffin.
the coffins.
What if he's using? I bet you he's using the wolves to like scare the round the kids up, scaring them away with.
It
the
might
wolves.
just be a ritualistic thing with the wolves. It might not be a fear tactic.
Or maybe since he controls them, he'll have them howl everything. People
Well,
are,
he used the
people are so
wolves,
concentrated on the wolves, they don't see him flying as a bat
Yeah, and
and stuff their children.
but he used the wolves to scare Jonathan.
He did.
It worked.
He also used for the woman who was looking for her child at the castle.
Didn't wolves kill somebody?
Yeah.
Did they rip someone up?
Why is he choosing, like he's not eating old people or anything?
The blood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
blood.
because they're not.
Remember
Yeah,
when they
they're
tried to
trying
do
to
the transfusion
rejuvenate.
for Lucy, when the Van whatever it is and the
Van
other
Helsing.
doctor, they're together and they said we need to pick the younger one, and then that's when Arthur walks in and they're like, yeah, we're gonna use
Well,
your
yeah, but
blood.
that has no.
Yes, it does because the younger,
Well,
stronger,
nowadays
better.
anybody can donate blood as
True.
long as
Yeah.
it's healthy.
But
I think just back then, old people wouldn't have as healthy a blood.
or why would you want to make an old person weaker by taking their blood?
But I feel like if you were Dracula,
Oh
if you had any sense of moral, I feel like that's where you would go.
He's immoral. He's a
He's
vampire.
taking
No, but I'm
children.
saying if.
He's taking children.
Because
got
remember,
no
he
more.
snatched that one little kid in the castle.
Yeah,
Uh,
and fed him to the girls.
I hate
Oh.
those girls.
also,
Dude, those girls.
Jonathan, I wrote here on page 85 when she gets on the 19th of August when she writes about Jonathan. The last we heard from him was in like July. So I don't know why has he been so sick that he couldn't write, but like also what was he doing for nearly a month
He's probably in bed.
before he was found?
Trying to break out the castle and running through the
But-
forest.
Well, I don't understand
Remember?
how we got. I
I
don't
don't
He was
understand how you
surrounded by
survive.
forest.
Yeah, there's a really big blank spot right there.
He was
Yeah,
surrounded by
that's what I'm getting at.
forest.
Because you're not going to survive in a castle if there's no food, no anything. You have
Well,
the
Dracula
girls.
was gonna let him out in the morning.
You have the
But
girls.
was he real?
Was he? I don't think he was.
He can climb down the walls. He could get out.
Who? Jonathan?
Jonathan.
I think
No,
he,
he
did.
tried,
He
though, I
pro-
thought.
I thought he did scale the wall once or twice.
He did because he went down to Dracula's room
Dracula's
twice, 3
room.
times.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's
he knew how to scale the walls. I don't know. But he's in the middle of nowhere too. You also have to think about that.
Yeah.
The
How did
latest,
he get found?
the latest place is within like 10 miles.
Maybe it was his. It was a plan for him to be found.
But the
I don't think
the
Dracula
workers-
would do that though.
the
I think he
workers
might.
were like they ratted him out. For
They
pushing
went
away.
boom, 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 boom,
Mm-hmm.
pointed at him, out their heads.
Okay.
Wait, no, they're gypsies. They're not religious.
Oh, also on page 86, the nurse was writing, or she said something like,
Sister Agatha.
he's been talking about
Hate
all
that.
these crazy dreams or
He's
whatever.
delirious.
So people aren't gonna take him serious if he tells them the 4 vampires try to suck his blood
Mhm.
and can crawl like lizards and turn into bats.
And
Yeah.
you know how Miss Nouri said that stuff, like how people, if they don't understand, they just don't listen or whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever we talked the other day in the corner, she said something about it, but I said that she doesn't understand and that's why she's discrediting it. And then I said that they said that what he has is brain fever. Whenever she actually does get there, I think it's funny that that's
It's like,
what
oh,
they
he's crazy, don't
Yeah.
listen to him.
discredit
So how do
everything
you
he
think he's
says.
gonna do when he gets back to his hometown
Real world.
with everybody? Do you think they're gonna frame him as a madman, or do you think what he's gonna say is
You know
gonna
he's
be
fine now. He inherited that company, and then the guy kicked the bucket, and now he's
Yeah.
just a big businessman.
Yeah.
But
I think it's not very much more of Jonathan in the book.
no, because he only we're basically done with it.
There's none of his writings.
There's reference to
Yet.
towards him.
but
Nina has the very last chapter, and I bet you that's
Well, I mean,
Nina
19 and 20,
going through
and then
Jonathan
22.
splitting up parts
she's
of it.
already gone through it at like the end of 14, or the middle of the end of 14. Since she gives it to Van Helsing to read,
Mm.
and surely this whole man's gonna put the pieces together.
Mhm.
I still don't think he's a good person.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Van Helsing?
Yeah,
There's something up with that.
I don't.
I cannot imagine why that would be.
I just think it's so random.
What? How's that random?
I don't know. He just randomly, like, not randomly walks in, but he just walks in and like knows everything, what to do and everything.
He's an old doctor.
Because he's
No, I
really,
know,
'cause he's
but-
really seen a vampire before.
Yeah, like
Because Dracula's really made it out of Transylvania before. That's like staying in the hood.
Well, Dracula's not
Transylvania is the hood at this point. He's never making it out the hood. He finally did. Van
He's not
Helsing
the
doesn't know
only
anything
vampire.
about him.
No, I think Van Helsing knows about Dracula.
Maybe not about Dracula. I think he knows about vampires for sure.
I would say Dracula.
In this world, how there.
Dude, I feel like in every movie it's like Van Helsing versus Dracula in,
Yeah.
in real world type.
I've never seen a vampire movie.
Have you really not? There's literally a
Except,
movie called Van
Twilight.
Helsing.
That was fake.
Twilight. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so
We can all agree that the master we're talking about here is Dracula, right?
Yes.
Oh, also, Renfield escaped.
Which
how does that dude escape? That's my question.
Dude, if
Well,
you're
the
crazy-
first
if
time he
you're crazy
escaped, and then
enough-
they just started kind of setting it up so he could escape
Yeah.
because they wanted to see what he would do.
He's a weird
Oh.
dude.
He said that it's on the middle of page 88. That he was like chasing Renfield. He had to get a ladder to cross a wall.
That Renfield.
Did Renfield just crawl it like Dracula,
Coming vampire?
like a
That's
lizard?
good.
Renfield's on that Dracula villain arc.
Honestly, it probably is. It's such a weird thing though. Like, why make him? I don't know.
I thought it was interesting on page 90.
Massa, it is coming. Coming.
That Jonathan wouldn't tell Mina what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Can't say that.
But I mean,
I don't
why would you
blame
be
him.
ready to talk right after you?
Yeah.
Well, it says he
I
only
give him a journal.
literally says that he does not remember anything that's happened to him for a long time past.
Well, he's been out for a month.
No, I
Think
know,
about
but it
There's
just
a
says
gap
that
in
he
the
doesn't
story,
remember
so you can
it.
assume
Yeah.
that he's been out. You can assume they like drugged him.
And they've been taking care of him.
yeah, probably be sleeping a lot if he actually did have a brain fever.
How do y'all feel about them getting married that quickly on the bed?
In a hospital.
I think it'd been.
It was old times, though. It was different
Yeah,
back
but
then.
they were
And
like-
they planned to get married.
They were
Yeah.
in love. This isn't a Lucy type of girl.
Well, we've been in this book for 4 months now, so I mean, it's not like drop of the hat. He meets a girl in the hospital. and
But
get
they
married.
just got together after
They've been
4
apart
months.
for
They've been
4
apart.
months, and then it's half a year. The fact that she stayed loyal, though, that's a good woman.
Well, at that point, you didn't have each other FaceTime every night when you missed.
Yeah, no,
each other,
you
so
had to write, and you had to wait for letters and everything.
But women, I don't feel like women cheated in this time period. Like, they would be literally like feel like
Lucy
killed if they
would.
cheated.
Lucy would.
Why?
Yeah, what makes
Lucy has all these men after her.
But she's turned them down.
Yeah.
I have a note on page 92.
Yeah.
Arthur
I
is
still
a,
don't think Lucy's a good chick.
Arthur's a very honest man. He says, Arthur says I am getting fat.
Yeah, that's
So-
kind of rude. I didn't know that.
A letter from Lucy. I thought Arthur was being very, very straightforward with Lucy. That's
Or maybe she was like,
How's she getting fat if she's losing blood?
no, not. She hasn't lost a whole lot yet. Well, you
She's
remember?
lost a good amount.
It's like next chapter or she
Yeah,
starts
like
getting-
wrist starts.
Oh, it's not that
You remember
chapter
she
yet.
said shoot or me or
like
one of
she's
them.
bad now, but it's not tell.
One of them said that Lucy had been kind of sick in London, like the arrow was doing her good. So maybe when he said, "Oh, you're getting kind of fat," it meant like like your color's coming back, and you're
Or
not
you
as
just like
frail as
healthier.
you used to be.
Yeah.
We might just.
It was a good thing back then to be fat.
No, it wasn't.
Men, you ate a lot of
Not in
food.
the 1900s.
Okay, not 1900, but I'm just saying back then.
1500s, maybe.
Yeah, because it just says, it does say that she's full of life and sleeps
Yeah.
well.
So he might not have been like, oh, you're
Maybe
heavily obese.
completely means like,
Well,
yeah, we took it wrong.
He's just like saying you're on the up and up.
Ms. Nouri told us to look for like the opposites a little bit more.
Mhm.
And on page 93, there's an opposite, like it's violent during the day and calm at night. Let me find it.
Well, that's kind of opposite of Dracula, right? Because he's asleep during the day, so he's not violent. And then at night, he's
Another
like,
opposite.
Well, I mean, I thought vampires can't be in the sun. Correct?
probably why.
It's supposed to be.
So, that's probably why.
Like
But
in
yeah.
everything there. Yeah.
And
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
he's active
on
as
the
well.
boat,
He's
he
active
only
at
came
night.
out at the night.
Yeah, he's active at night.
Yeah,
Al-
anything
always
happened with him during the day?
Always when the moon shines in that.
So why would
specific way.
Renfield be opposite? Or maybe that's why he's using Renfield, because Renfield's violent during the day and can do stuff for him.
Maybe it's not.
Well, I mean, think about somebody without coke, right? they're addicted, they're on coke, and then you don't let them have coke and they go crazy. At night, that's when Dracula's active. So they're gonna be more contained since they have their addictive substance at night. During the day when they don't have it, that's when they're gonna be a little crazy.
You think he's having withdrawals from Dracula?
Yeah,
During the day.
basically. Because Lucy's the same way when she doesn't get what she wants at night. When they lock her in her
Dude,
room.
she's just confusing.
That is true. They're fiends for Dracula.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the fact that she doesn't have any blood.
And she's.
Well, then why would she want to go get her blood sucked, right? And internally, when she's asleep.
I
when
think she's
not
under a
functioning.
spell. I think she is.
I think there's a tie between the two, and I think Dracula's creating a dependence. I think that's what he does.
Because
with
she
all his
did feel
victims.
better the very first time she got bit. She felt better the next day, and then she
felt
felt worse.
100% better. Like it was levels between the bad
Yeah,
and the good.
and then she got way worse.
I think Dracula does create a
Dracula's
dependence.
making him addicted. I have a note on page 94. It was when Renfield and the doctor saw the bat. I said bat vampire count. It's definitely Dracula. Y'all think it's Dracula?
I said big bat, just so I remember.
Well,
that there's
because
something
Dracula can
after
turn into a bat, so it's definitely like
You
I
can-
feel like
You can fly. I mean, they're not that far. Those towns aren't too far apart. If he'll like go back to his office during the day and come back.
And flying's so easy. You can just take any path you want. It's just a straight line.
You know from experience.
Yeah, I know.
And it said the doctor said that this bat like
Shut up.
acted weird, like it flew with purpose.
Like it flew
Yeah.
straight. Like bats normally just flutter around.
Oh,
And
And it said it was acting with purpose. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was weird that Arthur called Jack, who works in a mental hospital.
for Lucy.
Yeah, does
Yeah.
he? Like, do you think she's got something wrong with her internally, in the head or whatever?
Well, he thought that she was like lovesick or something, or not lovesick, but emotionally. He thought it was her emotions. I know what you're talking about. I don't know what page that's
I'm
on.
sure that there's something preying on my dear girl's mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he thought, like, maybe I can talk it out with her. I thought on page 100 that Renfield started keeping the flies. He was collecting them now.
I found
And
that
then
so
just
weird.
emptied it outside.
Wasn't he like?
Maybe he's doing it to attract the bats. Don't bats eat flies?
Why would you need a cat? And why would you need birds?
Because it's more blood. He's progressing.
But then I think he started
progressively.
catching
But then he starts
flies.
eating them. That's what doesn't align with.
He is a crazy guy.
On
Eating
98,
flies, but he does release them, like whenever he sees a bat, he did release them out of his window.
on page 98, when John wrote the letter to Arthur, he said something about this matter is life and death, perhaps more,
This is no just but life and death. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
and then it ended up being death.
Mm-hmm. I think him releasing the flies for the bat when he saw the bat is definitely trying to show that he is like only working for Dracula. Like that was him giving what he had to the bat.
Giving a lot of flies to the back.
Like he was feeding it.
We've got a minute. We have a minute. Oh,
We
also,
didn't really go through the latter chapters.
this, I don't remember where it was, but, when,
What's this about?
it's 25.
Oh shoot. Okay.
When the shoot, what was it? Oh, Van Helsing said that once Lucy died, John said something about I'm glad it's over, and then Van Helsing said it's just getting started.
Mm.
Well, it kind of is because the people that are starting to like love Dracula, it's just started happening. It's nothing that was the whole book.
Mm.
It's the Dracula fiends.
Have a good spring break, Miss Nouri.
Have a great spring break.